What's cracking, yo? Welcome back to Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. I've actually been wanting to put out a video about this clutch topic for a while, and I forgot until one of our great subscribers and supporters here, Alex Bro, hit me up in the comment section of the recent Nuggets Lakers video I put out. And a part of his comment said this: people really tried to say LeBron was a more clutch player than Kobe. He misses 2 threes near the end of the fourth quarter, one of them to tie the game, had a bad turnover after. Of course, Bron sexuals who infiltrated the Laker fans will never admit that. And then my response to Alex Bro was this, and I caution people of this. I caution people that tend to watch. I mean, these conversations can happen in barbershops, but I see it a lot in the mainstream media, in these talk shows, these debate shows, when they start talking about clutch players, who's more clutch than who, yada, 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 yada. Is that you got to be careful, man, because these networks and these shows will change the criteria or put out a specific criteria that defines what is clutch to suit their narrative, to suit their argument, to work for the player that they are trying to argue for. For example, and for me, like I told Alex, bro, it's simply comical. It's simply comical. Example, this is a pure example. They may say, based on the last 10 seconds of a game, where a team is within 3 points of the other team, player A shoots 8 for 20. And they say, okay, this guy's clearly more clutch than that guy. He shoots 8 for 20 in clutch moments. But if you change that criteria from 10 seconds to 12 seconds, then that player, instead of being 8 for 20, could very well be 8 for 45. The same can be said for the margin and the score. So however you want to change up the values of time and the values of score and separation between the teams, those numbers can be drastically different. And I don't give a damn what the NBA defines as clutch, because it's an arbitrary number. You can't tell me that the difference between 10 and 12 seconds is the difference between somebody being clutch or not. So you got to be careful when you're listening to these people talk about this stuff and they speak as if it's gospel. You have to be careful. And even when I try to support my favorite basketball players and say, well, this player was clutch and this player was more clutch than this player, I never bring up, based on this amount of time and this many seconds, this is what the player I'm supporting is shooting, or this is how he's performing. You go through all my videos. You have never heard me say that, and I never will say that in an argument, even if it's to defend somebody that I'm trying to support. Because for me, it's irrelevant. It's an arbitrary number. You change the time from 3 seconds to 4 seconds to 5 seconds to 6 seconds to 7 seconds to 8 seconds to 9 seconds to 10 seconds when the separation is 1 point, when the separation is 2 points, when the separation is 3 points. Those numbers can be drastically different. A player can look, spanning 3 seconds, a player could look like this, and then a player can look like that. You know what I mean? It's comical to me when people talk about these criteria as if they are gospel. Blows my mind. So y'all just be careful when you're listening to this stuff and take that into consideration. Please take into consideration. For me, all I need is the eye test. If I've watched these players play their entire career and I've seen what they were able to do in moments where I feel like this moment is clutch, this team needs a basket desperately, etc., to go up, to tie the game, whatever, draw them closer, I consider all that clutch. And then I make my evaluation and come to my conclusion based on what I saw. And you can take numbers into context, but like I said, these numbers can be vastly different depending on what you're looking at. But for me, it's the good old experience and eye test. And I don't need numbers to tell me that player A is more clutch than player B. or Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan was more clutch than LeBron James. I watch all these guys play. And I'm telling you who I think is more clutch based off what I've seen. All right? LeBron James didn't even start becoming clutch until probably late into his first stint with the Cavaliers or the Miami Heat season. Because for the longest, LeBron James shied away from those moments. He was not comfortable in those moments of clutch. And when he did finally muster up the confidence to start shooting these pivotal baskets, he was clanking them. And I'll be the first to tell you, LeBron has gotten a lot better at being a clutch performer once he got to the Miami Heat and later into his career. I would not consider LeBron liability in the clutch no more. I feel okay with LeBron in the clutch. Yeah, he's a bad free throw shooter, not the best mid-range, but I've seen him hit the shots now at a higher clip than what he used to. More so at the he's more of a liability at the free throw line than anything when it comes to clutch, but I've also seen him hit clutch free throws. I keep it 100 with all the players, man. 100. Seriously. And then another thing you can't tell me, here's another thing people do. For example, I've watched Kobe play his entire career. And I've seen the Lakers, it might be 4 minutes left, right? 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. Lakers are down by 10 or 15 points. I've seen Kobe Bryant literally, single-handedly rip off 15 straight points, 10 straight points, 18 straight points, whatever, as the game is winding down to even put the Lakers in a position for him to tie the game or hit the go-ahead basket. He rips off 10 straight points, 15 straight points. Now the Lakers are in it. And then Kobe Bryant misses the game-winning shot. And then now you're trying to tell me that this guy isn't clutch? After I've seen him score 15 straight points, 20 straight points, just for them to have a opportunity to win the game, and then he finally misses a shot, and it so happened to be the game-winning shot, and you're going to tell me this guy isn't clutch? Come on, man. What are we talking about? Yeah, he missed the game winner, but if it wasn't for him hitting all those clutch baskets leading up to that point, they wouldn't even be in this position with the chance to win the game or tie the game or send it into overtime. Come on, man. What are we talking? That's what I said, man. We got to watch these games and apply context to things. Because if you're going by just numbers, they can be skewed, they can be manipulated to push a certain narrative. They really can. So you got to be careful. And I even see on these, this doesn't have anything to do with clutch, but let me tell you the ridiculousness of these networks and some of these personalities. Skip Bayless. We all know how Skip Bayless hates Russell Westbrook. And he always talks about Westbrookian, these players look Westbrookian turnovers, etc., etc. So once Russell Westbrook was no longer their criteria for turnovers, no longer supported Russ. I'm gonna say Russ because I'm having trouble talking today. Once the numbers didn't support Russ anymore, they started changing the criteria because they couldn't say, "Oh, he leads the league in turnovers per game or total turnovers," or blah, 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 blah. And then once the numbers didn't start working for them, they started changing the criteria. Then I heard Skip Bayless say, well, per 23 and a half minutes or per 25 minutes, on a rainy day, on the third Sunday of every month, Russell Westbrook leads the league in turnovers. I'm being facetious, but they started changing the criteria per minutes to try to find a way to minimize Russell Westbrook. It's disgusting, and I hate seeing it. These fools literally get on. They don't know anything. They got a whole team behind them, behind the scenes working them. Hey, can you guys get on your machines and put in a script or calculation that'll show us what criteria or what minute criteria or whatever criteria will put Russell Westbrook in a leader of turnovers. Whatever that criteria is, go into your machines and let me know what that is. Oh, bet. Okay, per 12 minutes after halftime, he leads the league in turnovers? Okay, yep, send that one at me. We're going to talk about that. It's disgusting. It's stupid. That's all I got to say about it, man. I've been wanting to put out a video about this for a while. But before we do that, I'm going to share with you guys a clip. I actually love this clip. It was on, what's that show on ESPN? Anyway, I can't remember. One of the NBA shows. I can't remember what it's called. But Tracy McGrady was on there, and reporter Tom Haberstroh, however you pronounce his name, and T-Mac put this man in his place, trying to come at the panel with some disrespectful stuff. Let's check it out.
Myth number one is that Kobe is the most clutch player of his generation. And we had this discussion yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. Which guy would you like all time to take the last shot if you had only just 5 seconds left? T-Mac, you thought it was disrespectful not to include Kobe in that, but Tom
is about to get even more disrespectful.
Kobe stands, you need to sit down and listen to these facts only. We have a great chart here. Best field goal percentage on game-tying go-ahead shots. The league average is 27. The league average is 23%. Kobe Bryant right above the league average at 27. Then you got Dirk Nowitzki right there at 34%. You know, Kobe Bryant is a shot taker in the clutch, not a shot maker. He has over 1,000 clutch misses in his career.
At you right now.
And Dirk Nowitzki has only 730.
So, are you arguing Rudy Gay is the most clutch player in the NBA?
That's what I'm about to say.
No.
Yes.
I'm just saying this is evidence that Dirk Nowitzki is more clutch than Kobe Bryant.
Why didn't you say Rudy Gay? Rudy Gay is number one on your list. So say Rudy Gay is more clutch than Kobe Bryant. Tom, state that right now, right here on the jump, in front of everybody.
Including Kobe Bryant.
Is that what
I'm not going to go there. It's so one.
Men lie, women lie.
Numbers lie.
Your numbers are lying right now to us.
So, but the player experience, and we would talk about this with analytics, that there's the eye test. Players clear out for Kobe
They're
in those
scared
clutch
of him
moments, right?
At that moment. You think players are going to be scared of Rudy Gay?
No, I'm not saying Rudy Gay, man.
Not to take anything from Rudy Gay.
You're hung up on Rudy Gay. My point is that Kobe is not the most clutch player of his generation. This is just one piece of evidence that Dirk Nowitzki, the guy who's already won a championship, who didn't have Shaq on his team throughout his career.
Why wouldn't he say Rudy Gay? He keeps saying Dirk Nowitzki. You have number one on your list, Rudy Gay, at 45%. So, Tom, I'm just going to ask you this. You're going to take Dirk Nowitzki and Rudy Gay over Kobe Bryant.
No.
Ball that paper up and throw it at the cameras right now.
Thank you, McGrady, man. I'm glad. You know, that's the problem with these networks. They rarely get people that get on here that support certain players or throw stuff back in people's face. Nowadays, a lot of times they're only bringing yes men on the panel when it comes to talking about certain players. So I'm glad, man. T-Mac, seriously, T-Mac is a real one, man. It's comical to me. It's so comical. And what does Shaq have to do with this? He played with Shaq throughout his... What does that have to do with anything? And no, he didn't play with Shaq for the entirety of his career. He won championships. What else, Shaquille O'Neal? What does that even have to do with anything? These dudes are clowns. Anyway, I'm done here. Tell me what you think about it. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified. Thank you, Alex Bro, for bringing that up because I've been wanting to do content on this. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. We out, baby.